failure? Why do we fear it? Do you ever find yourself dwelling on criticism you were given months, even years ago? Does that time you were publicly chastised sometimes pop into your brain when you don't expect it in the form of shame and self-hatred? Do you talk yourself down by laughing off your failures or calling yourself a mess or the worst at something? Hi, I'm Tash from The Loving Lifestyle, a channel dedicated to helping you live your best life. And today we're going to chat about where feelings of shame stem from when we fail or receive criticism, and how we can process these events better in the future to get the best out of our situation. The shame that we feel when we are perceived to have failed or are criticised stems from a fear of being seen as a failure, a fear of letting people down, a fear of being stigmatised as someone who can't do it, who isn't smart enough, strong enough, lovable enough. We all want to be loved, accepted, praised. It's human nature. And when something threatens our status as a awesome, lovable, successful person, we see it as a personal inadequacy. In fact, we often don't process the events surrounding a failure because we want to hide it, pretend it never happened, and laugh it off because it threatens our perception of our idealized self. But when you accept the situation and recognize why you feel this shame, you'll be able to change that shame feeling into feelings of acceptance, self-compassion, and openness toward what we can learn from the situation. Failure is often defined by how others perceive the event, and fear of failure usually starts from a very young age. Why are parents so determined to have the smartest, sportiest, best paid children? Do they really want the best for them? Because from what I've seen in my life, being smart, sporty, well paid does not link to living a happy, fulfilled life. In fact, it often leads to perfectionism, injury, and compulsive buying to counteract the loneliness. And in my opinion, that's definitely not wanting the best for someone. In reality, they want this because they feel that they have failed as a parent if they don't succeed in raising smart, sporty, well-paid children. It's a damaging cycle, and it can only really be fixed when someone stops and says, wait a minute, I don't buy into this. It is incredible the effect that conditioning can have on children's future development, and I am so relieved that despite going to a ankle-length white sock, Clark's one-strap pumps, school-branded backpack school, I managed to get out with only a few damaging beliefs instilled in me. But I know a lot of my peers weren't so lucky. If you don't get that job, that promotion, pass that test, have that relationship last, who is telling you that you failed? Who decided that that means that you're a failure? What if you turned it around in your mind? I didn't get that job because it wasn't in my path. That relationship didn't last because there is someone more suited to each of us on their way. I didn't pass that test because I need to learn from that experience. When you change the way you word the narrative around that event, you'll realize that the word failure should not even exist. It has no place in language because the concept is flawed at the root. How can we fail if we don't know what's in store? So instead of asking, why has this happened to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? What is this teaching me? A lot of the time we hear about coping with failure, but I'm not really sure if that's what we need here. We need a mindset shift that recognizes that some things happen and some things don't, and that is how it was meant to be. We need to learn to accept our shortcomings and process the events. When we don't succeed at something, it's not anyone's fault. There is no blame here. It simply wasn't meant to happen that way. We can reflect on the events that led to it. Perhaps a negative self-talk led to self-sabotage. Maybe a loss of trust led to the breakdown of a relationship. But that doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing. We will learn from these events. They will make us a stronger, better person, and that is a blessing. Who is the person criticizing you? And what gives them the authority to do so? If you can't already tell, authority is something that I feel very strongly about. And if you haven't already watched my video on how to take control of your own life, I highly recommend you do so. It is a life-changing mindset that will change the way you see yourself and the world around you. If you are criticizing yourself, try to decipher where the criticism is coming from. Whose standards are you holding yourself to? To reflect on your actions in line with your values is a fantastic, actionable self-development technique. It can help you hold yourself accountable to living intentionally and motivate you to be the best version of yourself. However, reflection and criticism are two different things. When you reflect, you evaluate what is going well and what is going not so well, as well as how you could improve on those things. But when you criticize yourself, you are beating yourself up, drowning in your negative self-talk, and often doing nothing to make the situation better. If you are someone who often beats themselves up for making mistakes or failing, I highly recommend you check out this video on how to be patient with yourself. We are our own biggest critic, and learning to silence that and be present will create a more positive mindset where you can reflect on your strengths and weaknesses without spiraling into self-hatred. Now, sometimes others will give you constructive feedback because they genuinely want you to improve. And sometimes we need an outsider's opinion so that we can reflect better on what we've done and how we can do better. But this really needs to be feedback and not criticism. You are not an A-level textbook. No one needs to critique and evaluate your behavior but yourself. We have linked being wrong with failure and criticism with a personal attack. We get defensive when people criticize us as if it's a personal attack on who we are and we have to self-protect. But listen to the criticism. Is it really an attack or is it just a suggestion for improvement? You don't have to take the suggestion because, again, who has that authority? But you should be able to hear it, digest it, and analyze its relevance to you without jumping to defense or on the counterattack. And this comes through really knowing yourself, knowing your values, and loving who you are. When you are comfortable with who you are, others' opinions, criticisms, and little comments can't hurt you. If you struggle with feeling like you always fail and you talk yourself down, try setting little challenges for yourself to accomplish. These should be small challenges. Complete a class on Skillshare. Learn how to touch type. Read a self-growth book. Perfect the winged eyeliner. Or pick up a camera and take some stunning pictures. Write the challenge down and practice it daily until you succeed. It may take a while, but when you accomplish it, you will recognize that you can succeed at things and that you do every single day without taking the time to notice it, which leads me to my second action point, which is log your accomplishments. Keep a little notebook or a page in your journal where you log all your accomplishments. I have a page on Notion where I write down all of my achievements, big and small, to look at when I feel like the world's worst human. It is crazy how easy we brush over those things that we succeeded at and focus and dissect on all those things that we didn't. We need to be our own biggest cheerleader rather than critic, because we are doing so many amazing things every single day. Give yourself the credit that you deserve. I'm going to be honest here and tell you that I have failed at a lot of things. I have rarely lived up to my potential, and I know I have let down a lot of people who wanted more from me. But the thing is, I didn't want that for myself. Taking a different route doesn't mean that it's the wrong one or that you failed, because who defined what the right one was? Just because the majority of people you may know might do it that way doesn't mean that you have to. Not giving people what they want from you isn't selfish. It's honest. Leave that class, end that relationship. Step away from those people who make you feel small. Others may criticize, they may make their snide remarks. They may say what a shame it is that you quit. But you'll know that you haven't failed. In fact, you finally succeeded at putting yourself first. No matter what you do, people will always want more from you. You could get an A on a test and someone will ask you why you didn't get an A star. You could get the A-level grades you need to get into the university or internship that you want, but someone will always tell you about someone they know's son who got 4 A's and is going straight to Oxford. You could choose a job that you love, and someone will express that it's a shame you didn't strive for that higher paid corporate role. You could end a relationship in the nicest way possible and you will still get a bitchy text the next day. The sooner that you learn to achieve what you want to achieve for you and not for other people, the better. It will save you years of self-hatred, depression, worthlessness, and mindless people-pleasing. The fact of the matter is, people can't be pleased. You will never be enough for some people. So be enough for yourself. Be who pleases you. Do what makes you happy. Be proud of your achievements, even when it feels like no one else gives a shit. And when you do fail at something that was important to you, and you will, process the path that led to that failure and try again and again and again for you, because you want it, and that is all that matters. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. And if you're struggling with people pleasing, check out my video on how to take control of your own life. Otherwise, I'll see you next week or over on my Instagram at The Loving Lifestyle Blog.